BlastMusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Hello. It's your girl, Melikia K, Courtney. And before I get to talking, I want to make sure that I am being heard. So let's start there. It's been a minute since I've been up in here. And these buttons, not that the buttons moved, but some buttons are different. So we're going to join the learning curve together. Give me a second. Let me catch these comments. There we go. You can hear me. Bravo. Let's get to it. Okay, y'all. Hey, what's going on? Welcome. We're going to kick it off like we always kick it off. It's going to be the same routine in the beginning. And we're going to get into this work. Y'all, today is about the persistent pivot. We begin with gratitude. Like I begin with gratitude every time. So let me say this to make it clear. Not only am I live on my channel, Melikia K Courtney. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and touch it and do that. I am also live with Blast Nation and like 12 other places. So I'm not going to go into all that list, but what I'm going to say is welcome home. I'm glad you're here. It is time to learn. This is a growth podcast. This is SXP MetaMorphosis 365, all about the growth. And I am grateful. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be back pushing some buttons and learning the things. Hallelujah. Y'all know I love the simplicity of a thing. Super simple. Gotta mix it up, add some contrast. Hey man, let's get it done. All right. So thank you to my sunshine Cromwell. I got to actually chat my girl up today and hear her voice. I love you, lady, if you're listening. And I know you catch the replay. So mwah, that love is waiting for you right there. Thank you to my partner Scott, who is handling the chat. So over on Melikia K Courtney over there. Behave in the chat. We have had to put some folks on a little bit of punishment with some of those comments. And I just encourage you to be respectful or you will be bounced. That's just the honesty of it. You might find yourself in seeing YouTube Jesus or Facebook Jesus or wherever you're watching me at Jesus with that resurrection injection. Got it? All right. So, y'all, this is episode 97. I'm going to sit in that moment like for a minute and sweat it out. Like 97. I thank sovereign divine God for moving me through to this space, because this don't come easy. It don't. And that's okay. Like literally this conversation that we about to have is fully in line with a pivot to understand that what is life. Like when you consider the life that you have experienced, and about a whole bunch of pivots. Like if you are an adult and you have lived some life, you've done some schooling, some educating, and some training, some romancing, some this, that, and the third, and you have gotten to experience a pivot or two. Now, what I did do, because this is such a large thought for me, I have had so many experiences in this. I wanted to take it to you guys in a reasonable fashion, in a way that makes sense. I hope that's fair to say it like that. So I'll start to take it from the back, but let's do it from the beginning and go forward. The first thing I want you to understand is that pivot is not a failure. All right, it is not a failure. It is not a failure. Let me say it 20 times for you. Go ahead and say it in your mind. It's not a failure. It's a revelation. If you have been blessed enough to successfully engage a pivot, it is because you did not give up. You did not do anything wrong. I want you to understand that it wasn't about, I chose wrong. I gave up. I wasted time. This ain't that. When you are able to acknowledge that you've had a pivot, then it is for you to understand fully what that is, what it looks like, what you have to do with it, okay? All right, darlings. If you're taking notes, and my note takers are my visionaries and my difference makers, go ahead and hit that. That is truly the first point of the square that you need to stand on, that I'm building for you to stand on. And I'm hoping you're building for you. I'm sharing you build. God, the pivot is not a failure, love. It is a revelation. I invite you to put on your scientist mind, because that is what it takes to move away from the emotions sometimes. Let's science this out. Okay, babies. So to give you a contrast, always a point with a story or an example. Let's go that route. If you think about Netflix, and what was that thing? Redbox. I remember enjoying Redbox so much, y'all. I remember when that popped out, I was pissed a little bit because I remember Blockbuster. Okay, let's go big, big, big with them VHSs, all that good stuff. I remember the order. So I'm grown. Okay, girl. Let's fast forward to thought. Look at the evolution. Redbox came in and shut it down. You go pop up to the Redbox, boom, 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 get that little DVD, have it for 2-3 days. You bought your business, bring it back. All right. And so folks started smashing them with cars and taking all their stuff. In moves a Netflix, a streaming platform. Get the picture. You can't run up on that with a car and take. You about to run that subscription and pay yay and enjoy all these movies. But what it did do, it shut down all of that stuff. Now, for those of us who are diehard and we're gonna keep our electronics, Merry Christmas, enjoy your VHSs, enjoy your DVDs, enjoy your other means of movies, right? And then for those of us who moved on into the streaming age willingly, peacefully, and joyfully, happy us. Okay, so you are understanding real time what a pivot looks like. If you need to just get a quick idea in your head, think about Instagram. Instagram was burner before it became Instagram. It was like a sign-in app type of thing, check-in app, yada yada. They was like, forget it. Let me simplify it. Get the picture, and I'm dropping keys while we're talking. Let me simplify it. Made it about photos. Boom. Okay. There's power in your pivot. All right. I hope to bring you some ease today for those who struggle. And I am a human who have had persistent pivots. We're going to get into my story in a little bit, but I want to give you guys what you need first so you can be mulling and thinking that through. There is much to work through. Get them pencils ready, pens ready. All right. When the pivot begins to happen, it's usually because your identity, who you're becoming, is outgrowing who you are. All right, your surrounding is no longer big enough to hold the you that you are becoming. Fair enough? Make sense? Okay. Walk with me. Walk with me. You may not agree, but suspend your agreement or disagreement and walk with me. And let's see. All right. So sometimes your job is not wrong. Sometimes the relationship is not wrong. Sometimes your city ain't wrong. Your friends ain't wrong. All these things is simply that you have evolved. The things that used to hold you, hold your attention, engage you, entertain you, grow you, are no longer able to. You received all the nourishment from that that you can, and now it's time for you to pivot and move right along into an environment that can nourish you, that can support your growth, that can encourage you to come along to walk that walk out loud. Okay, so think in that terms. Where does it apply to you? Where have you had to pivot? And you can see that movement and you can see the success behind it. I want you holding that at low ready, okay? Because we're going to get to some exercises. So the environment sometimes is just not what you need any longer. Who have I become that makes my current environment unable to sustain me, unable to contain me? That is your question. When you get up off this podcast, my expectation is that you take these questions and these thoughts and these tips and you put them to work. What does that look like? It looks like you're going inside and doing an introspection. It looks like you being honest about how you're feeling, about where you have called and labeled failure, where it might not be, but we're gonna challenge your thoughts. If you feel like it's fair, okay, let's go put it down on that paper and let's see. Was it actually failure or are you in the middle of a pivot? because that's a dangerous place to be. But we'll get to that. Let's move slowly here. Slowly here. I make words as I go. All right. It is powerful. That conversation, that exercise is powerful for your professional people, for your even for your parents, for your creatives, and any of the young adults. I deal with a lot of young adults and wing one and all that. Introspection, that time to reflect on what happened in the house of you is imperative. All right. The pivot, the pivot, the pivot, the pivot usually whispers before it's forced. This is what you're writing down. There's another point where you done ran through the first one. Let's run back just for those who may have been popping in. Pivot is not failure, it's revelation. Pivot is when your identity outgrows your environment. Fair enough. And then your third, if you're moving forward and paying attention, is usually whispered before it's roared and forced. All right, y'all. Pause up story time. Here you go. I was being nudged. I was being nudged to leave this one particular job, and I didn't want to. Okay, get the picture. I was doing my thing with my camera back in the day when I was young on my professional cam biz. I could see the writing on the wall, but for the most part, I got to work by myself with my hand-selected team, which was dope, dope, dope. Only there was some friction with the owner. And that lovely, beautiful woman has some issues, to say it politely. And I knew it was building because I had exceeded expectations. She was able to do some things that she had never been able to do before. In the 20 years of her doing that particular business, I was freelancing for her company. And that little monster of jealousy was doing a tap dance. Can you say tap dance, showing his ass, okay? And it grew to a point. Now, I could feel the nudge. Pay attention. I could feel the nudge. I could feel the discomfort. I could feel the fatigue. I was tired and freaking irritated. I had joy when I knew that human was not going to be on site. Do you understand? So I am sharing with you my story so that you can reflect and find it in your own. Do you feel the nudge to be somewhere else? Are you in a state of discomfort when it comes to your work, your romantic relationships, your family relationships, your friendships? Are you dealing with something that literally is saying to you, hey, pay attention? Hey, pay attention. Are you paying attention? All right, back into the story. So what had happened was this one particularly lovely day, Cat pulled it, came in with some items that I specifically made it real clear I ain't the one and I'm not filming, posting, writing, shelling, participating in the selling of these items. They were Afrikaans items to the tune of an Afro body, black, that slides into the sheath. It was a letter opener. Get the picture? Being fed to an alligator. Okay, so the sheath was an alligator. The body of it was an Afro black body. Feel me? No way up and down hell was I about to participate in that. There was also some signs, colors around back, things like that. Things that were completely against who I am and who I'm gonna be. Period. Okay. So in that friction, yay, it was time to pivot. It was time to pivot way before that, but I kind of dragged feet. The final incident blew up to the point where that lady had the unmitigated gall to stand in my face and say, I don't want you. Ain't that something? Fantasies be wild, ain't it? Okay, so I offer that full story to you because it is a contrast. In that moment, I got to choose. Am I going to eat this and let this happen? Or am I going to politely say yes to the pivot that was calling me to move? I had outgrown it. I was bigger than that when I came. I already knew it. Kind of shrank myself to fit into that role because I needed to do something different for a second, okay? And you know who you are in the hearing of my story. Huh. We do that sometimes. There's no judgment and no shade or no hate about it. It's what it is. Either way, I got to make that choice and move on to work in an environment that was conducive, that did not demand I be someone else. I tolerate disrespect or racism and ignorance, hate speech, all the foolishness. I did not have to do that. So I chose to move my tail right on along into something better. All right. So you get the picture. There was a nudge, there was a discomfort, there was the fatigue, and one no excitement. But like the excitement was when certain folk wasn't there. Are you getting the picture? So this is your warning, your encouragement, your big sister saying to you, hey, listen, you may not want to refuse your pivot any longer because it's persisting. It's persisting. Answer quickly. Think about for my sports people, because I know y'all like some sports. Michael Jordan, when did he explode? What did he have to do? He had to pivot. Let that team, that varsity team, go ahead, get great. He did it. Oprah Winfrey, same. Pivots. People in her area telling her what she ain't good enough to do, and all that other stuff. Guess what she did? And that's the point. Grow. Lean into your pivot. They lean into that pivot. All right. I want to share this point as well. In the story, I had the chance to do one or two things. It was going to either be that strategic pivot, and very much strategic in the sense of ain't nobody trying to go to the JAIL. Got a friend who says keep $250 a bill in your pocket, which I think is really funny. And the truth of the matter is I didn't have to go through all of that. I got to choose. I strategically choose to keep myself safe and property and do something else for my whole time and my whole life. Get the picture. And you also have that option as well. Or I could have been on the emotional escape thing. That is not me on my way. I don't have time for that because I don't make time for it, and I encourage you not to make time for it either. Your emotions, when it comes to those, you are in control. I hear Joy just entered the house. I'm so happy. Okay, y'all, guess what I get to do when I leave? I get to go play. I'm super happy about that. All right, let's focus. So you get to choose whether it's going to be a strategic move or an emotional escape. The emotional escape comes when you stay on. Should I have stayed on after that, then it may have drawn to a point where it was an emotional escape, where I didn't give myself or leave myself room or options. Okay, we ain't doing that. We grown, so we're gonna do it in a grown way. Pay attention. A powerful pivot is going to be one where you are informed, you are aligned, you're going to move in a way that to something. There it is. There we go. Say it that way. You're moving to, you're not just moving away from, you are moving to. You are aligned with your purpose, aligned with your values, aligned with your character, aligned with your being. All right. That is how you move strategically into your pivot. Let me tell you what that emotional escape looks like. That emotional escape looks like you triggered. That's all it boils down to is you straight up triggered and you don't know how to ride that train or process those emotions. So you're pissed, you're impulsive, this is when those some people do the worst. Yeah, in that situation, imagine a big person standing in your face telling you that they own you and not going ballistic. Emotional intelligence, all right, maturity, okay, but triggered. See what I'm saying? Impulsive, avoidant. That is what it looks like when you just on an emotional escape. You want to avoid it, you triggered, you feeling impulsive, and you just want to jump, run, hop to the next thing. Only you don't even have a next thing to hop to. It's just, I got to go. No plan, no strategy, just movement. Be cautious, be aware. I encourage, that's what I do. I encourage us to do better than that, to love ourselves in a way that won't cost more than we're able or willing to pay. And I'm not just talking about coins and dollars, I'm speaking emotionally, spiritually. Okay, them too. Keep that in mind. Let's keep it moving because we got much to get through. So I mentioned earlier how the middle of the pivot is a dangerous place. And I say that because it's the in between. It is fully uncomfortable Yeah, you may have a two to go to, your score to go to, your next to go to, but you still are dealing with some mm, unsurety. That's the word I will use. It could be the uncertainties of finances, like your money could be funny. It could be the confusion of who you are. I have helped so many people when they are at that pivot. I am a life coach, by the way. When they're at that point and they're redefining life, they have to go and set a whole new identity up for themselves. They no longer know who they are because they spent so much time identifying as their role. Ooh, I'm talking to mamas. Ooh, I'm talking to daddies. Ooh, I was working with CEOs. Ooh, some of them had six figures, some had seven, some had eight. Do you understand? It don't give a damn about your money, about your possessions, none of that. Your emotions, mm-mm, don't care. Your mindset, you get to order that. The memories, those thoughts, the horrible things that were whispered to you about you not being enoughness, things like this. They don't care about your financial status, all right, pumpkin? So when you are in that pivot, the middle, that's kind of where you really got to get to work. It is imperative that you set yourself up financially if you are able. You know you're about to make a pivot. You know you want to leave that job. You know you want to leave that marriage. You want to leave that relationship. You want to leave that state. Baby, please prepare financially. That's the smoothest way to make that. And I understand everybody doesn't have it like that. You may not even have time. You may not have energy. You may not have the recourse to do so. Okay, I get it. For those who do it that way. Identity. I encourage everybody to get to writing. If you're not a person who journals, it's going to be important for you to start journaling. I encourage you to do that so that you, hey, T.O., what's going on with you? It is important that you take time to understand who you are. I saw a question today on Facebook. Friend Geronimo Moody asked a question. If you were to figure who you are, who would you ask to remind you? And I'm probably butchering the question, but get the picture. If you take time with yourself to journal who you are, what's important to you, your values, your character, your concerns, God forbid anything happen, baby, you got you to remind you of who you are. All right. So, and when you come into those moments where you need to pivot and you're in that confused state or that uncertain place, you can reflect on who you are. You can remind yourself of who you are. That worth 5 minutes a day, and it worth 15 minutes a day. Let's talk about this is totally not related, but this is just truth. An extra tip: if you take time to write 15 minutes a day, and I'm not talking about clickety on your computer or your cell phone. I'm talking about your hand, that paper, that pen. If you take time to get on 15 minutes, you are strengthening your brain. You are strengthening your identity. These are ways that you can protect you in the long run. Because I'm telling you, we're about that growth around here. So put the growth tools into motion. Let's keep it moving. Again, we got much to get through. All right. So I want to point out something that was I thought was it's pretty profound. I think about some of the folks that I look up to, like Tyler Perry. I think he is an amazing human. I don't know his life like that. We are not friends. Let me be really clear when I say this. It's simply that he had such a fight ahead of him, and I love how he successfully made it through that pivot. That man was living in his car, y'all, like flat out. He lived in his car, and he was committed to what he wanted. I know you hear the sirens, but it wasn't me. I ain't do it. Okay, they're not coming for me. But the man was living in his car. So to stand where he is today, doing all of the amazing things that he is doing today, he had to wade through that pivot. He had to take time and identify himself to himself. And most likely, probably, and hopefully, he had beautiful people around him to help walk him through that. Do you, like flat out, do you have those people in your life that could remind you of who you are should you forget? Should you come into a hard place? Should you find a pivot that really is rocking your being, your mindset, your soul, your memories? Have you created those necessary relationships that help you move ahead? I'm gonna leave you with that question because we got somewhere to be. All right. It is for me to let you know that the pivot it expands you. Okay, it's not just an opportunity; it is an expansion. expansion of who you are from who you've been. Fair enough. All right. And I know that's something to sit with. I encourage you to write it down and consider it. Let's keep it moving. So most people pivot for the opportunity. They see something that they can do or something that they can have, and now they want to pivot into that. Caution, caution. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying enter with caution. Increased discernment. Can you put it on the table? Some emotional resilience. Do not be blown like the wind into opportunities. Don't do it. Don't do it. Use your courage muscle, the courage to say yes to the things that truly make sense. How do you know if it makes sense? Because you took time to vet it. You took time to investigate and make sure that you are not solely moving by emotion, that you're not being rah-rah and booed up into doing something that is not aligned with your being and who you are. That's going to be good for you. All right. Strategic thinking. Can I remind you of that? Use your strategic thinking. I made the contrast for you earlier. If you need to push the replay after this, go ahead and push the replay after this because these are helpful tools that will help guide you through those pivot spaces, spots, moments, circumstances. Fair. All right. And it is for you to understand that what I share is this way. Life is not out to get you, but it's out to get you ready in the same sense that pivot is there to prepare you for the who you are becoming. Okay. And I encourage you to trust me on it if you don't know it for yourself already from the pivots you've already had to go through. I encourage you, test it and see. All right, let's keep it moving. The power that's in the pivot is the ownership. I have encountered folks that want to kind of point and blame. Well, they made me, or she did this, and my history. You don't know what I've been through. Well, here's the thing. I'm sure you're gonna tell me if you're one of my clients. I'm gonna hear some of that. I'm not listening to all of that because we got stuff to do. I'm focused, and I am a life coach who is on purpose. I'm very intentional. I do allow my clients to share some things, but I help them get to the point, and I help them redirect to the change that they are seeking because that is the point of our time together. Them goals, them results. Get the picture. I'm gonna love you along the way. Yes, yes, yes. And I do love my clients. They love me back because I is. Same time, my encouragement is I'm not sitting right there with you. My encouragement to you is that you stay focused and that when you do your reflecting and your introspections, you find out whether you are stuck in a they made me mindset. Um, the economy, the market, my mama, my daddy, all of those things, and I'm not pooing on you. I promise you, I let judgments go a long time ago. These are just some of the places people get stuck, and that is why I make mention. Okay, if you find yourself stuck in that, praise God, be joyful, rejoice because you found you. Ain't no shade. All right. And then you can define where you go next. Shift into the I chose. Again, back to the story I shared earlier. I chose to not hurt that lady and to walk my tail up out of that place and be like, listen, this contract is now dissolved. We are complete. We're complete. Are you able to do that with the things that go bump in your life? It is necessary. Can you choose, shift into the I learned? I learned this lesson from that moment. I learned to never, never, never drag my feet when I feel the nudge of a pivot. It is for me when I feel the nudge to get my eyes open and my heart open and my spirit open to see what is my next, to see where my graduation is about to occur, to see, as Che says it, my January 1st, my new year, my new beginning. Where is that? All right, Che Brown, if you don't know him, check him out, great guy. So I chose, I learned, I recalibrated, I readjusted, I made them course corrections. Take some ownership in your pivots because when you stand in a place of ownership, you get to direct some outcomes. You are not the victim. It is not happening to you. You ain't got to just take what comes. This ain't that unless you make it that. You got some skin in the game. make some decisions. Okay. So a pivot is proof that you were lost. It's I'm dancing the thought a little bit. You found you being the point. It's proof that you was paying attention. That's kind of how I feel about it. So not so much that you were lost, but that you were paying attention. And here it goes. And I will add the hook on that to say, so I'll put you on a hook. You leaned into that pivot and completed it. If that is the case, and you were in fact not lost, you were literally listening, paying attention, and you're making it move. But if you were dragging it out, and if you're still in the pivot, and maybe you're not moving, you waiting to see, knock it off. Say knock it off, knock it off, knock it off, knock it off. What else do you need to see? Let's be honest with ourselves. You're being disrespected. You're not being handled well. It is not nutrition for your mind, body, heart, soul, and spirit. The environment is just too small for you. You've grown, you've expanded, exploded. You need better and bigger. Won't get your better and bigger. Okay. This is when you bump the computer, my bad, y'all. So one and get your better and bigger. Okay, lovies. So I wanted to get through that real quickly, and I also have some exercises for you. Why? Because I love you enough. Because I love you enough to make it clear. Like, listen, you are joining me for SXP MetaMorphosis 365, which is a growth podcast. What does that mean? It means we fit to have this conversation about growth. And a lot of what I deal with here is identity and mindset, because that is where the battle begins, is fought, and is won. Yeah, you got to get in the game. Your body got to get in motion. There's some physical movements attached, but I got to guide that mind, right? You got to guide your mind before you get into anything. I'm praying and hoping that you thinking before you do. Learn that lesson when I was a kid. My mom used to say, think before you act, think before you do. I was one of those kids who wanted to stand in the hallway, wanted to put one hand on the wall, put the other hand on the wall, and I wanted to swing and kick up because that was my thing. I loved it. It was great. Till that one time in band camp where I kicked too high and fell flat. Hit my head, hit my back, hit my butt, all the pain, all the pain, all the pain. Do not let life be all that pain. Get it? Listen. So I learned my lesson the hard way. You can learn your lesson the hard way if you choose to. Or you could you could spare your butt cheeks and the back of your head some pain. All right. So move into these exercises, babes. All right. Understand that a pivot is information. I talk about data and information and memories and some earlier episodes. I encourage you to go binge. You got 96 episodes prior to this one. 97 is this one too. My own heart. I'm very excited to be close to 100. Focus. All right. So this is what I would like for you to write down. I would like for you to write down one failure, one thing where you just be like, ooh, I super failed. There is no question. There is no doubt. There is no I straight up failed. Fell on my face. I fell. And I would like for you to also write down one door you feel that closed in your face. So one failure, one door, and one thing that didn't work. Get those three things written down. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds just to write that down. And in this moment, if you don't have your pen and paper, the clickety is allowed as long as it does not remove you from paying attention on the podcast. So a few seconds to write that down. One failure, one closed door, and one thing that didn't work. All right. When you have that, here are the necessary things to ask yourself after accomplishing that part of the exercise. What you learn? What did it teach you about what you don't want? What did it teach you about what you don't want? That failure, that door that closed, that thing that didn't work. And then here goes the mining of it all. I believe in mining. For me, every lesson is a blessing. Every circumstance, every situation has got some gems in that bad boy for me. Some diamonds, some gold, some silver, and some linings. I'm going to find it. Okay. So, what skill did you gain? Are you good at gleaning skills from your experiences? If you've not mastered that, then we need to work together ASAP, because how many wonderful lessons has life brought to you? And maybe you only took two of the things away, two of the gems, one diamond, one pearl, and you dipped and was like, ooh, but wait, you left like 20 things back there. So what skill did you gain? All right, last one on this one. What did it reveal about your real desire? The story I shared with you guys earlier. Yes, I love what I did. I love my pictures. When I say I got to tens of thousands of photos, because that is a joy for me. It was an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be able to work in my field, in that field, okay? Yeah, but I already knew what I was supposed to be doing. Is that you? Do you say out your amen to it? Like, I already knew. I already knew speaking is in me. I already knew teaching was in me. I already heard sovereign divine God say, hey, XYZ, this is your work. I was doing something else. And for those of us who were doing something else, again, I left judgment along a very long time ago, but sometimes that persistent pivot is coming to shake your tree and cause you to put your eyes back on what you are aligned to do, back into the alignment of where you're supposed to be, the work you're supposed to be doing. And here is something you should know. If you were to exit this body and this life without leaving your messages, without leaving the things that you brought into this earth for the earth to experience long after you're gone, how many people are suffering failure because you refused to move, to do, to obey, to provide, to give messages, to create products? There is so much that we bring into this wonderful life through us. Don't dam up your greatness. We got to move forward. All right. And if this wasn't a failure, what was it preparing me for? And that's the last thing I'll share. If it on that topic, because we got more exercises. Don't believe it. We still here. Okay. So if it wasn't a failure, what was it preparing me for? What I can say is that moment prepared me for nearly a decade down the line, standing face to face with more folk who was in pink skin, who lack respect and wisdom and clarity. All right. To be able to stand in rooms with those people professionally, maintain my composure, dignity, and character, and count it success while being effective and doing what I came to do. Get it? What did your pivots go pick a pivot? Find you one in your life. What did it prepare you for? Where's your evidence? Where's the evidence that you grabbed some skills from it? Where's the evidence that you took time to pay attention to what the sovereign divine God was saying to you? I don't know how you believe, who you believe in, but whoever you believe in, what was that spiritual guidance for you in that pivot? What was the work for you to do coming up out of that pivot? Are you on purpose and doing your work? I always have an objective to understand. The reason that I take time and teach this podcast for the price of your paying attention, honestly, is because I was instructed to do so. Yay, I was instructed to love you in this way, to remove the argument of I can't afford a life coach. I can't afford a transmutation coach because I'm both. I can't afford the advanced spiritual disciplines. Okay, you got no excuse no more. What you have is 97 episodes of growth. All right. I get to charge $250 an hour. When it comes to speaking engagements, I get to charge $50,000 more, according to my coaches. Get the picture. So for the price of your attention, you get Melikia K, Courtney right here with you at your leisure to press play and pause and take the notes that you need to take and grow. I have been there. I have been there when I say my life didn't always look like it looks like now. My mind didn't always look like it looked right now. My heart didn't always look like it looked right now. This took work, baby. Work, work, work. And I would love to shortcut your work and hopefully shortcut your pain. There are many goats that I kicked against, many things roads that I walked off road on and got run over. So I took to learning these lessons so I could share and prayerfully shortcut some of the pain and the learning so that, because I told you I always have an objective, so that people heal, right? And so that mommies and daddies start paying attention to these babies and helping to produce some true productive citizens, some people of the earth who mind, okay, who mind their mindsets, who protect their heart and the heart of the people around them, folks that we ain't got to point at and be like, mm-mm. Okay, people that we can welcome in, folks that we can do community with, leaders who are going to lead with some honesty and integrity, not like this mess we're dealing with today. Okay, so there's always a point behind the teaching. Yes, it is. And it is for me to love you. Okay, and I get to do that in many, many ways for the people that I serve. All right, forward. Let's go. That was your first exercise. We'll run it back real quick. All right. You're writing down one failure. You're writing down one closed door. You're writing down one thing that didn't work. And once you've gotten those things written down, you want to find out from yourself. Please don't get on the phone with nobody else. This is a you exercise. What did it teach you about what you want? Have you taken time to understand what you want? What do you want? Did you take time to understand what skill you gained from making that pivot? Have you done the work? If you've not, big freaking deal. Ain't no shade. Go back and do it. Go back and do it. You're still breathing. You're still thinking. You're still living. Let's get it done. All right. And what does it reveal about your real desires? Because sometimes we do things to distract ourselves, to deviate from our plan. Maybe we was running in the other way because we didn't want to go teach in Nineveh. How about them apples? The picture. Okay, so your past is not a graveyard. It's a research lab. Come on, be a scientist. Okay. Exercise number 2. Because ain't nobody playing with you. This is all love. Get to work. I'd like to help you recognize that the pivot may already be happening. Okay, because some people may not see it. Internally, it may already be happening. All right. So on a sheet of paper, you just do the basic. Get a sheet of paper, draw a line straight down the center so that you have 2 sides. You got a left side, you got a right side. And what I'd like you to write on your left. Who was I when I was being tolerated? When I believed that I was being tolerated or accepted because of or for something or feared. Because some people are straight out of afraid of greatness. So who I was, tolerated, possibly believed in, possibly not, accepted, but only to a point, feared. All right. On the other side, what I like for you to write is who are you becoming? Okay, who was I becoming in that moment when I found the pivot? And even in right now, if you're in it, if you're possibly spiritually in your pivot already, it is for you to understand who you are becoming. What do you require? What desires, and that's why I harp on the real desires. Like, what do you really desire? Have you taken time to know that? And it lives beneath what you want. That is a straight up clue for those who need it. Sometimes we are content. Oh, I want this, I want this, I want that. That lives about 2 degrees up. Take it 2 degrees center and understand what you really desire. Okay? That's work. Do it. Understand what you will no longer negotiate. I say it this way because I think it's funny, and I'm a 2-year-old, sometimes 5 years old. I do not negotiate with terrorists. I'm not negotiating with life terrorists. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not negotiating with emotional terrorists. get the hell away from me. I am not negotiating with piranhas and pariahs, perverts and pedophiles. Got no time for it. Get the picture. So what do you require? What do you honestly desire? Who are you not negotiating with no more? Flat out. Who or what are you no longer negotiating with or for? And what are you ready for? You can literally put my name. Melikia is ready for. You put your own name because I get to meet me. Only me. Get it? What are you ready for? That goes on your right side. So on the left side, kind of understand the places where you're being tolerated, where you were being possibly believed or not believed in, for places where you felt like you were accepted only because, accepted for this or for that, but just not really fully you. And identify if you are feared, if your greatness holds terror for someone who refuses to be great. And that's just flat the truth. When you get around folks who refuse to grow, they get irritated and pissed with you. It is a short fuse. You might be getting blown up on, gaslit, the whole nine of it. I mean, just trash panda behavior because they are fearful of you stepping into yourself and being great, and being fully greatness. Okay, great. So on the right side, what do you require? What do you desire? What are you no longer tolerating? And what are you ready for? Okay. So I will ask you this just to touch back to the first part of what we're talking about. Does your current environment have enough nutrients for you? Does it match your right side of your paper? Because if not, you might have to complete that pivot. Okay. Complete your pivots, lean into them for real. Let's touch back to this. Okay, so I'm gonna breathe. Just breathe for a minute because I know it's a lot of there's a lot of information. I am stirring in your feelings, your emotions, your past, and your memories. That's okay. That's what I'm here for, to help you do that. You're gonna be all right. All right, that was your breather. That's your 20 seconds. Let's go right on back into it. All right, we talked earlier the story that I shared, escape or revolution. Sometimes it's a matter of escape. I do have 25 plus years in domestic violence healing, awareness, and solutions. So sometimes it is a matter of escape. I am not speaking to that demographic right now. I'm speaking more generally for the all of us. Okay, so bear that in mind. Strategic pivot over an emotional reaction. All right. So here's what I'd like you to think about. Am I running from discomfort? And if you are running from discomfort, are you at least running into alignment? All right, that is a powerful question. When we ask these powerful questions, you get these powerful answers, and it helps you move forward in your thinking. Let's keep going. If fear disappeared, that means like literally the fear that you hold inside of your body and your mind and your actions, your behavior. If that fear disappeared, would you still want this? Would you still want what you're leaning into? Therein lies the question. Okay. 3, does this decision expand or shrink me? Very, very important questions to ask. Does it expand you or shrink you? I'm entertained too, y'all. Okay, so 4, have I gathered enough data? We talked about the data before. And again, go back and binge and find those other episodes. Data. Are you gathering enough? Are you fully working to research and understand what you are experiencing, what you are going through, what is coming to life through you? Are you doing the work? And if not, I encourage you to get to it and do the work. 5, would future me thank me for this move? That's a wonderful exercise to put yourself into. With the future you, thank you for this specific pivot. And it's also a way to measure if you on escape routes or if you truly are moving into alignment. So use these measures to kind of figure you out and where you are. And here's a simple thing too. The questions that I ran to you, put a point system on them, 1 through 5, and add it up. Your higher numbers, if you get at least like 20, then it's likely that you're moving toward alignment and you're evolving. If you get 15 and under is likely you working to escape. And I'm not going to say good or bad in that behavior. I'm just going to say caution, caution, beware. And it is for us to understand that every urge is not a calling. Every time you have an urgency, a push, or a desire quickly, something fleeting, it don't mean you need to act on it. Okay, stop running and trying to escape. Knock it off. Okay, great. All right. Last exercise I'm on for you guys for tonight because we have I have it on thick for y'all because I really want you guys to get this and grow. The pivot is a part of life, and life is out to get you ready for who you're becoming, who you need to be, who and I say this cautiously, who your people need you to be. I am not saying break, mold, and reform to be all things to someone and lose yourself. That's not the message, not at all. I am saying for those of us who came with purpose, with intention, with work in us to come and pour out in this earth, I am saying you must become who you came to become. And the pivot will help you. We get to grow. We grow, we grow, we grow. Time to expand. Boom. New environment. We grow, we grow, we grow. Time to expand. So move with your pivots. It's the giggles for me, y'all. I can't wait to go play. But first things first, we gotta get y'all this work. I would like for you to write a letter to yourself from your future self. I would love for it to be lensed from the other side of the pivot, from the becoming side. You have worked, you have become, and now you get to reflect back and have a conversation with yourself and say, hey, listen, this is that moment. And give it to yourself. Like it's 3 years down the road, you made a pivot, the pivot worked, you survived the uncertainty, you lived and you done made it, you grew stronger. Have that conversation. And especially if you are aware of the pivot that you're in and it's important, have that conversation with yourself, okay? You want to keep in there things like what changed for you, what's better. You want to keep in mind the things that you've built. You want to keep in mind the things that you've deconstructed successfully that no longer served you. Be specific. Take your time and do that work. Who did you become? Like for real. So all of that work. And I encourage you to go back and press that magic replay and get all of these steps because it will help you as life continues on for you. Should you be blessed enough to wake up in the morning after that, in the morning after that, you have a map. You got a roadway and a way forward when you face the pivots. Let's fall back into the story I shared earlier. I just told you I was pissed. I was mad, mad, mad. I made the choice to step away respectfully and safely. And at the same time, I knew where I was supposed to be. And I began to, and it was a return. Let's be clear. It was a return to that purposed work and the impactful work. From that time to this time, God knows it's been millions of people that I've been able to impact. And beautifully so. The lives that I get to touch and the people I get to serve is freaking amazing. It really is. Like I'm ever so grateful. And the people that I get to meet, like it blows my mind every time. Every time. So I would love for you to experience that for yourself. That would be dope. All right. So the version of you that you're becoming through your pivots is waiting on you. That's it. It's waiting on you. It's there for you. You gotta choose it. Gotta choose it. Gotta do the work. Do your writing. Start your journaling. Like for real. Take time to know you better than you know anybody or anything else. Better than you know your profession, your discipline, master at several things. I need to know me better than my masteries. See it? So that is my hope for you. I am Melikia K. Courtney. This is SXP MetaMorphosis 365. It is a growth podcast, y'all. This is episode 97, and I am super, uber, uber grateful that you are here. I am freaking excited to be this close to 100 episodes. When I tell you life hit like Mike Tyson, and yet still, sovereign, divine God has seen to it that I'm in this chair and making this message happen. For those on Blast, you guys didn't see me for a bit. That doesn't mean I wasn't here. I told you, follow me on my channel because some stuff is only going to be over there. Subscribe to Melikia K. Courtney's YouTube channel. There's certain things that you will never see here on Blast. And then there are wonderful things that you will see here on Blast. So mosey right on over there and catch up. You guys do have a new book out. And I will say that it is a grown folk book, okay? It is titled Priestly Goddess Enchantations. And in it, I have a wonderful time with my poetry. Some is sensual, some is erotic, so beware of that. And you know it's going to have some growth in it because that's just who I am. I share some transmutation incantations. These are powerful, brief statements that help you to transmute specific things. So not only are you entertained with poetry, because I am Lady Molotov in the poetry streets, same time I am Melikia K. Courtney, and I am about that life impact. Okay. So if you would like to get your e-copy, it is an e-book at this point. And you want to get it ASAP Rocket because by the 14th, I'm going to be moving on to something else. So if you'd like to get a copy of that book, get in contact with me fast, like fast. You want to email me at lifeissanctuaryxp@gmail.com. Hit me there. If you have my medias, hit me on the medias. For the Instagram, it is malikia.ladymolotov. And Molotov is spelled Molotav. Okay, so do those things. Yes, I'm on Facebook. Having some fun on Snapchat. If you're over there, find me. And I have a TikTok, but I don't really do too much over there. So we will see. I've been asked to do more on TikTok. I'm not sure about that place because I don't know it very well. I can learn, I guess. But you will find me here, right on YouTube, because I like it here. This is kind of homey. Yes, connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Professionally, if you are looking for a speaker, if you are looking for a poetry or spoken word artist performer, also reach out to me for that. When you email, you want to put book you in the subject line so that you can get immediate attention. Okay? lifeissanctuaryxp@gmail.com. You know what I love? I love feedback. So if you have taken some of the things that I've taught from SXP Metamorphosis 365 and put them into practice and you are having some awesome results, please share the news. I love great news. Send me a message. Post it on your medias and tag me in it. If you'd like to do it that way, I'm so open to it. Okay. So I have loved you. I have shared with you what I came to share. There is more that I can offer you concerning this topic. And I only gave you one example. I will say I have mastered the pivot and that I know to continue. I have pivoted from law enforcement and behavioral health. I have pivoted into entrepreneurship, pivoted into my authorship, pivoted into spoken word performance as well. I kicked that off. That was back and away and returned to it. See the picture. Message, always with the messages, y'all. So I believe in the power of a persistent pivot. Okay? I'm hoping that you come to believe in it as well because it truly can make the difference in your life, how you choose to engage your pivot. If it is that you want to kick and scream, wail, whine, and cry, and stay where you at, good freaking luck. Because again, I did tell you, the nudging comes first. And then you will find when you do not move or respond to that gentle nudging, you get forced. And that is an ugly feeling. How do I know? Because I was a hardhead, beep deep to begin with. And I wasn't getting it. I didn't understand that it was everything working for my good to nudge and guide me gently forward. And when I dug my heels in, it was like, all right, buddy, let me show you how many muscles I got. Bam. And then I'm forced. I don't care for that path. I care to cooperate with Sovereign Divine God. I care to be aligned. I care to move into my next great space. I care to understand that some relationships dried up. There's no longer nurture. I need to go where I can be nourished and where I can nourish. Okay. And some folks, I fed you all I can feed you. Now it's time for you to move along and find your next food. Excuse me for a second. I feel that little tingly thing in my throat. So if you hear anything, okay, hopefully I spared you that sound. If not, enjoy the noise. How about that? We're only allowed to properly apologize if we fart on the mic. I ain't do that. Okay, so thank you for attending. Thank you for attention. I appreciate you investing time into you to grow. It's important, it's imperative, and you are wise. You are bright, and you are brilliant. You are smart to care about yourself and your growth. Okay, hasta pasta. See y'all next round. Now I gotta push some buttons. It's been a minute since I pushed these buttons. Lord, somebody pray. Okay. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you posting. Bernia, what's going on with you? Okay.
BlastMusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.